welcome to another mandala video. Today we're going to paint this 7-inch wood round, and we're going to use kind of a corally pinky color and some minty blue as an accent. So let's start with the base paint here. This is just DecoArt in black. Then the paints I'm going to use are Coral Blush, Melon, so let's do it like that, Coral Blush, Melon, Crystal Blue, or any other kind of minty that you have. And from Nuvo drops for accents I'm going to use Carmel Cream. I also have some paint pots here. And I'm kind of going to start by mixing up some paint. So this is actually the darkest color, the Coral Blush. Oh yeah, and what's also handy is kind of black cardstock. So we can kind of pre-swatch before we're going to paint the thing. So the first paint pot is going to be Coral Blush. I'm kind of thinking if I want to have a color in between. I'm not sure. I don't think so. So the next one will then be Melon. Oh, I need to shake it up. I am actually just, let's see how. Okay, so I can actually do a color in between. Shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. So let's do Melon here. And a little bit here. And then I'm going to add a little bit of this one here. Then we're going to mix it up. Do I have a mixing thingy? That would be nice. Where is it? I don't know. Oh, I'll just use a brush. It's fine. And then I don't know. I think that one needs to be a little bit lighter though. So add a little bit more of the lighter one. And then in this one, I am going to use Melon, which is the lightest one. And some white. It's a little bit difficult to see sometimes. And here I want white with a little bit of melon, just a little. I don't know, it's a small piece, right? So I'll probably not use all the colors that I mix, but I'm kind of thinking that I want to use this color palette for a large mandala as well. So when I'm mixing paints, I can just as easily mix, you know. Okay, so let's see how these colors are together. You know, we can actually use a dotting rod. That's maybe a little bit easier. So I'm just going to dot each color. To see how the gradient is. Okay, so there needs to be more melon with the white. Just add a bit. Just make sure that everything is stirred correctly. Honestly, I could use a little bit of white in this as well. So just a hint. Okay, like that. Let's do it again. So this is the lightest one. That is better. And that one needs to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to grab a little bit more melon. Yes, yes, that is a nice gradient. And then, so those are done. And then for the other one, I am going to use crystal blue. Don't have a lot left, honestly. So, and then the last color that we then will get for the color palette is then crystal blue as an accent. And I think that's a very, very cool color palette. So the mixing is done. Let me clean that. I like to have a shimmery center dot. So I'm going to use my Nuvo drops. And everything I use will be listed down below. And if I can link things, I will. Just make a nice dot. I'm going to grab 1 millimeter and the blue. We're going to do a ring of dots. I'm going to go up in size to 1.5 and the lightest shade. And I'm going to go in between. I'm going to stay in the same size. I'm going to create a new ring with 1 shade darker. Next, I'm going to go to 2 millimeter and let's go 1 shade darker. Again, a new ring. And I'm actually, because I can, kind of putting each dot on a guide mark. Yes, next I'm going to go to, let's go to the 3 millimeter and the darkest. And I'm going to make a dot every other guide mark. And I have quite a lot of paint on my tool to create nice big dots. Now we have quite a big gap here, right? We will fill that in later, so that is all fine. Next, I'm going to go to, I think I can fit 1 brush stroke there, but I do want to have some dots around. So I think I'll go to Pearl and the 0.8 millimeter. And we're going to do a walking the dots. I am going to go to the smallest of the set that I have, and the set will be linked in the description box. And this is the 000. And the reason that I use these brushes is because they have a nice tip. We're going to go to the blue. And we're going to do a brush stroke, but we have to make sure that it's not too wide. Kind of depends on the space that we have available. Because I don't want them touching here. I'm going to go to the Nuvo drops. We're going to make a dot. in between the two petals, and then I'm going to pull that up. And in between, only if you have room in between the petals. But it's going to be halfway between these two guide marks. Oh, I forgot to tell you. The distance between these guide marks is half an inch. No, these two are half an inch, and then it's divided in two. That's it. So 6 millimeter, around that. Okay, next I'm going to go back to pearl. And again, 0. Oh, that's white. No, you can also use white for that, by the way, instead of pearl. Or even the lightest color that we made. You can also do that. I'm going to walk the dots again. I'm going to go to the blue and a 1.5 millimeter. I'm going to make a 3 dots. I'm going to do, yeah. So 1 dot on either side of the guide mark, and then the one just above. And I want it to end on this guide mark here. Okay. Then I'm going to make a swoosh. I don't want the swoosh too thick, because I want space for brush strokes. Then I'm going to go to the brush again. I am going to go to the second to darkest. I'm going to frame the petal. The reason that I'm doing it this way, so I can kind of fit a little bit more brush strokes in between. At least that's the plan, man. Then I'm skipping one, yes, so I'm going to the second lightest. I had to think a little bit. And these are going to be shorter. And then I should be able to, oh, my brush is a little bit too wet. I should be able to fit one more if I keep them narrow. And I don't mind them overlapping here. I only don't know what's happening there. I don't want a lot of paint on my brush. And as I said, I don't mind them overlapping the previous brush stroke. I actually quite like the look of that. And it's a great trick to kind of fit some more brush strokes if you have not a lot of space. And then the last brush stroke is going to be the lightest color. And it's also going to be a little bit shorter. Can be a little bit tricky because I need to stay on either side of the guide mark. So we have that vertical guide mark going in between. You need to stay on either side. So if you need to overlap your brush stroke, the previous brush stroke, then do so. That's what I'm doing. You can see here the brush strokes themselves overlap, and I actually like the look of that in each petal, but I don't necessarily like it if these two overlap unless it's intentional in the pattern. Nuvo drops. And we're going to make 2 dots. And then I'm going to make a swoosh on either side. Like that. I have a 3mm dotting rod. I'm going to go to the lightest color actually. I'm going to do a ring of dots. Okay, the next pattern. I'm going to go to the blue and 7 dotting rod. I'm going to make a dot. Every other guide mark. Then I'm going to go to pearl. And let's go to 1.5 and a 1mm. I'm going to make, first I'm going to make some bigger dots with the 1.5. Then I'm flipping the tool and I'm walking the dots with the 1. We are going to go to brush strokes again, but I am going to go up in brush size. I think this is the largest brush that I have in this set, right? The 0 brush is this, yes. Okay, and I'm going to start with, I think I want to end with the darkest. So 1, 2, I think I can fit 3 brush strokes. So I am going to start not in the lightest, but the second to lightest color. I'm going to frame the petal. I don't know if you can hear them. I live at the Dutch coast and the seagulls are having a party. Then I'm going to go to pearl. And let's go to a 1mm. And I'm going to frame the petal halfway by walking the dots. Then I'm switching to my 0.8 because I'm going to do micro dots here before I forget. I'm also going to go there with the Nuvo. And I'm going to make a small dot. And then I am going to drag it down. And that fills up that space nicely. So let me make a few dots first. You can also do this with pearl. Then I'm going to go one shade up. Brush strokes again. This one makes very narrow brush strokes. So I'll probably be able to fit 2 more after this. Now I'm going to go to the blue. And let's go to a 1.5. Let's see. Yeah, 1.5, and we're going to walk the dots again halfway. Now I'm actually flipping to the 1. So that you basically have a bigger dot there. So let's do the dot with the 1.5, then flip it to the 1, and then walk the dots. Then I'm going to go one shade darker for the brush stroke. I think actually this is going to be the last brush stroke, so I'm going to make them thicker. I'm going to go to the Nuvo drop. We're going to make some swooshes. So let's put this one here first. So I make the biggest dot kind of on the guide mark, but also a little bit in between the petals. And then two dots next to it. And I'm putting those in too. Now here I kind of have a little bit less space, so I need to make them smaller, but they're also off center. If I put the swoosh here, it will be off center. So I'm going to go off center so that that swoosh pattern is in the center between those two petal patterns. That's the plan, man. So yes, I'm lining everything up on the grid, but I'm also keeping my eye on how it flows with the rest. Then I'm going to go to the blue again. And I want to do one swoosh, I think so. I'm going to go to the 2mm. And we're going to make a swoosh on either side of the swoosh pattern I just made. If I don't have enough space kind of to pull it to a nice point, I'll just flip it. I don't want to go outside of this guide mark, because that will be a ring again. going to do the lightest color again for the outer ring. And I think I can just do a 3 if I know where I left it. So let's start in the center and go one way. The way that is easiest for you, that you can see what you're doing. So if you're right-handed, you'll probably go that way for the first part. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the opposite side. Now let's go here, because it's easier hand placement. And then I go back the other way, and this way I can just see how much space I'm putting in between the dots, and hopefully it will just line up a little bit better. Let's go to 2. It's best to wait until it's completely dry, but it's actually dry enough for me to very gently put a top dot on these. And then top dots for these are going to be the Nuvo drops, but I don't know if it's dry enough already, so let me just try one. I think I can manage that just very, very gently. Okay, let's do some micro dots. And then that is basically the last thing that we need to do. Then it's just a matter of letting it dry, so we can remove the guide marks. Everything is dry and I'm going to remove the guide marks. This is just so satisfying. And then here she is. I like the color combination a lot. What you could do if you wanted to is do some top brush strokes to create maybe a little bit more dimension. Shall we do that? Shall we? Why not? Because I can. So I'm grabbing the smallest brush that I have in the set, and then we're kind of going to go lighter. So I am going to start with the lightest color that I have. Do I also want to do those? Sure. So just a little bit. It's a lighter color. Just a very, very thin top brush stroke. And then for here, I'm going to do top brush strokes. Basically one color lighter than the other brush stroke is. So this is going to be, so as you see, the lightest color. Okay, then I'm going to go one shade darker. I think I don't remember exactly what order that was, but let's go one shade darker for these. I think this was that the darkest color or the, I don't know. I'm just going to go one shade darker again because I forgot. Yeah, I think this is it then. Just a little bit of extra definition. And then here is the finished mandala. Do you like it? Are you going to recreate it? Let me know down below. If you want to order a custom piece from me, you can. Just hit me up on Instagram, send me a DM, and we can make that happen. Also, don't forget to check out the rest of my videos that I have. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would love to have you as part of this painting family. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below. I'm going to wish you a fantastic day, a fabulous evening, happy painting, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye.